This is a very personal question because we had someone in our family who struggled with depression for many years, and we didn't really understand depression. Certainly I've dealt with sadness in my life, everyone has, but watching what depression did to someone and how it just robbed them of life was very difficult. What I would say is mental health is really no different than physical health. It's still health. And when we struggle with any kind of health issue, it can be devastating, whether it's diabetes or cancer or some kind of mental health issue. And so it was difficult, and it was a learning experience, and certainly it's given me an understanding and a sympathy and maybe even empathy for people who struggle with any kind of health issue that I didn't understand in the past.
How has mental health impacted my life? Growing up, I knew that there were certain people. I didn't grow up in a Christian household, but I knew that there were certain people who definitely were, quote unquote, crazy, or they were people that had, mental issues, or, that's kind of the language that maybe I would use around, where I grew up, of how we describe those sorts of things. But I never thought it would be something that would actually, be something that I would wrestle with or that I would struggle with. I have my own things about insecurity and rumination and things like that, but I never realized that there would be, a place of which I could go that would be so dark and deep for me. And I remember there was a particular season of life in ministry, especially, where I had this thought, man, I can see how deep people can go into their own mental illness, because I found that it was impacting me in such a way. I found that it was, weighing on me, and that some bout of depression came upon me. And so it's impacted me in the sense of, personally speaking, that I've had, some seasons of it, and the time was really hard for me to understand what was going on. But as I look back on it now, yeah, definitely I wrestled with some of that. As someone who's ministering to students, you can see it in certain students, and in the way that they bring what weighs on them into our gatherings and when we get together, and so the conversations that not only they're having with their peers and their peers who are wrestling, but within our own students, and it varies from anxiety to depression to suicidal thoughts to some people that are there's just such anxiety around their home life, and there's some people that just they have these these things that they wrestle with that were already there, and that some things trigger them, and providing them with healthy counsel. And we feel like some of our students have benefited well from getting an education to know that there is some help for that, but also just being a listening ear and counseling them with what's going on within their life.
The issue of mental health is extremely important to me, and I think it should be important to everyone. I've had family members and friends really struggle in that area. I've ministered to youth particularly that have been in different situations, have experienced trauma, have dealt with things internally and externally that really have put their mental health in a vulnerable place. So being able to counsel them from the Word of God, but also point them to professionals, to trained professionals that can help them in that area, has just been a huge part of my ministry. Even personally, I've been affected greatly just in my understanding of mental health. I've struggled with depression. There was a period of time where I literally I couldn't eat, couldn't get out of bed, and so this is a big issue, and I just really feel like that's one of the ways in which God has shaped my understanding of who He is, my understanding of His heart for me and people, that He's not just concerned about our spirit. He's not just concerned about our worship, but He's also concerned about our minds. He's concerned about our emotional well-being. And who wouldn't serve a God like that? I thank God that He has His love for us is holistic in nature. And so that has been one of the major ways that God has really ministered to me and shown me who he is. It's in the area of mental health.